but certainly give props to Anonymo coming into this one. Big, looking like a team that I'm excited to see play. Obviously, not a great run in the VCT, but here in the promotions, this is maybe where they can beat up on some of the weaker teams. Now, Anonymo, we've seen them a lot, Ryan. We're jumping right into the pistol.
Yeah, pushing through is going to be big on this attack first. Little bit of a change up when it comes to how it's all going to be working with the Brimstone coming in and two different players switching it around. But already the Sage is going to put that wall in on mid and needs to be very careful of Aslan.
Oh, quickly, that Trailblazer picks up info on towards Casper, so he's held back, and Big having to approach this one slowly, methodically, into the default. Potentially now looking over this wall. It's quite a deep wall for godb to deal with.
Spike drop.
Plan overall is to still just sort of wait it out, and that's a lot of time already wasted. Maniac is going to try and peek it. People managed to get through onto the other side, so knows that information, knows that this is going to be a hit. And there's no showers control at all, so this is going to be tough for Big to hold on to, I think.
Well, a minute left already. Big tapping the plant, trying to draw out any other utility that might come in to try and disrupt that, but Twisted now commits to the plant, sticks it through for Big. It's going to be a 5v5 retake. Now, all of the players for Anonymo on this side of the map. There's no flanks to worry about, even though Big have got that covered. So, all coming in from the defender spawn side of things, and we'll see how that pans out for them.
Look at godb as well. In that position, wait for the recon dart as well. It's going to be in a good position. Now the trade's out coming in for Aslan, holding on to lamps. Twisted's doing the job, and just at this point, it's the final blow, right? godb going in on that flank, taking Anonymo's attention away, and a straightforward looking. And Anonymo, it seems that the plan a lot is going to be putting those initial Sage walls down to stop that early pressure. Didn't really do that much that time.
Yeah, good start here for Big, absolutely, and we got to see the Sova in action a little bit there from Galba. You know, in terms of the composition, we kind of brought it up briefly towards you headed into this map. You know, the Sova versus Sage conversation. Where do you stand on that one, Ryan?
Ooh, I think when you've got B, your Sova utility is pretty on fire at all times. It's going to be Big wanting to play this out a little bit slower. I think play for the information, play for the intel. You have the Trailblazer and the Aldron to scale and scout out a lot of stuff. The Boombot, which Twiston has available, he's holding on to it. He knows that he's going up against this eco, so if there's going to be a stack of pistols, it's going to be here. It's exactly what Anonymo's doing. So he's like, I've got this Boombot that can clear it, but I'll save it because I have no intention of going in this general direction. And the Anonymo are on the move, but it is going to be another short push coming in.
Yeah, it looks like Big are going to have no problems dealing with this. And this Big side, getting a good start here is going to be paramount. Because we haven't actually seen this team in action recently, Ryan, at all. We haven't seen Big play that often, whereas Anonymo, they've been playing in this new patch for a long time, right?
The last time that we saw Big play, they got battered by Mech. But the last time that they played Bind, it was an overtime game against Team Liquid, where they brought it back from like 9-3. And Anonymo chipping away with these pistols. The plant has gone down, but if it's just a one death that goes in on the side of Big, which is looking likely considering the stim comes through from Obnox, they're going to be pretty happy with it overall. So yeah, like Big, the last two times that they played this map were overtimes. And we've had a lot of overtimes recently as well, Dinko. So strap yourself in. I've got my protein shake. I've got my sleeping bag. I'm ready to go.
Yes, you're prepared, Ryan. We had the other day, I think, kind of tested our limits of what we were capable of pulling off. But
wait, it is actually an insane stat because we had 5 maps that day, 3 of which were overtime. The other 2 were 13-11 scorelines.
Yeah, no, I think we had 4 maps of OT in a row, I think, right? And
was it 4 or was it 3?
I think it was 4, but maybe it was like an entire map's worth on one. Maybe that's where I'm going with this one. You could be very right, but nonetheless, a buy round for Anonymo. They've got into the investment, they've got the rifles out, and for Big, it's a bit of a bonus for them.
The Anonymo putting in those Sage walls broken instantly, and they've backed off completely. They can't fight for those orbs, but Zus finds that first kill onto Aslan in short. That means that wall lurk isn't going to be possible. A Big again, third time lucky, still going to be trying to push in from short, but they don't have that Viper wall to lurk in onto lamps. A lot of effort goes into onto Caspe, and Zus knows it. He needs to retake this position. He's not afraid to. As a paint shell too.
Yeah, a little bit of attention being drawn away towards short, so that's not committing to the showers fight just for the time being. And Big certainly going to be playing that slow style you mentioned. This time a player down does become a little bit more difficult. You see that toxic screen placed up already in towards A.
The job for the analysts, actually. Count how many times we see a plant coming in under 30 seconds, because this is looking to be another one.
Yeah, it's a tactical style, really. here of God B, but we'll see how this aggression for Anonymo
no.
pays out. That's about to walk into the trap. This is exactly what Big wanted. They wanted to sit back and let the mistake come to them. Now it has, and that's opened up a chance for that push through showers. Another flank from Caspi. Oh, luckily spotted. Kamika Maniac will turn, takes it down and leaves God B alone. And yeah, I don't really think he's going to be able to pull this off. Maniac with the headshot, no problem. Anonymo will win their rightful round. Big don't get their bonus.
And they only lost one, and that felt like Big, that's the win condition right there. If you want an example of what Big want to do, it is playing very late in the round and using something like an Aldrun as bait over towards B. An Aldrun is super important when it comes to utility, and if there's 30 seconds left on the clock, pretty much the tell for a lot of teams is if the Silver's using the utility over towards this site with 30 seconds left, that's where they're going. You need that Silver on the execute. So the fact that the Aldrun goes towards B, it forces Zus to push out shot to get information, then he's caught out and the rest of Big were ready to go. It was just good adaptation from Anonymo to shut that down. Now there's a full buy on either side. No ultimates as of yet for both teams. But if Big keep fighting for the showers control, they can keep farming up this all.
Oh, God B thinks about taking a kill towards B long. Doesn't really want to commit to the other side of that sky smoke, so gets in the midst of it and then drops back. Big just playing a spread out default. You can see the damage that's been done here. Aslan's still just down to a Sheriff into their first real gun round, so it is relatively weak across the board here for Big. And God B has a lot of pressure on his shoulders out towards B long. He's gotten the spike in his back, and he's down.
That giveaway of the spike, it needs picking up, and then Big maybe needs to put some pressure elsewhere on bind. At the same time, look at Anonymo. The adaptation is to start scaling through onto showers again. So now Big are in a real difficult position. Not only are they a player down, but they've kind of given the game away. Twiston could do a lot. He was the highest on first kills out of VCT so far, despite Big's pretty torrid run. He's let them know that he's in hookah.
Yeah, this is going to be rough. If Big continue to play this slow style, we're going to see a very dynamic, proactive defensive side out of Anonymo, and it's working so well. Admig with 3 in the round, finally Twiston striking into action, but there's just so much needed for him to do. He started that in a 1v5. Big, that was a gun round, and it really felt like they just got destroyed as if they were on pistols.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that God B on his own decided to like scale up that much space on an aggressive angle. Maybe just wasn't expecting Admig to re-peek him over on B long. But it does make it really awkward because the whole plan for Big is to really try and bait and make Anonymo rotate from side to side of the map. They don't have a chamber. They don't have that fast rotating ability, right? So Big need to try and sell these ideas at all across the map. They see the spike, it's done. Now an eco forced out. And Kamek now going to try and face in. Twiston is being given this space. He wants this Sage Wall to come in, and especially if Cascade can find those openings. Zus not been spotted as of yet, but it's going to get cleared out. The Sheriff's the singing. That's a Zeshtism right there, I'm sorry.
I love it. For sure, Zesh is loving it right now. Sitting back in his chair watching this matchup, and that was a great reply from Big. He's probably loving this a little bit more. The fact that Big have put themselves into this position, now they just have to see it through. Anonymo looking to come back into the round. They're still committing to this. Snake gets a chance. You never really want to commit to the spray at that kind of range. First bullet inaccurate, and so the rest will follow. Now just Admig committed into the site alone. Big could get a flawless here. Casper is so low to going down, but now playing a little bit more passive. Omnox will throw away the flawless opportunity, and Admig has to save this one. There's no time left.
He's not going to have the chance because God B's gone for the longest flank of his life.
Yep.
He's doubled in age.
What?
Of course he loses the fight still. All of that setup. With 5 HP, Aslan might be able to shut this down if he goes for a little bit of a wider peek. And the gun's going to be saved narrowly from Admig. And that means that there's still money for a buy for coming in on Anonymo. Now that they have those ultimates coming in, and Casper especially turned that round around all on his own. Got all 4 kills in the server then.
Yeah, that's massive. That's a big impact round from Casper. It was a little quicker from Big. I think it had a bit more intention to it, Ryan. You could see from the start of the round maybe a bit more of a clear idea. The other rounds kind of felt like it was just sit around, wait to see what happens, and piece together a round from that. But Big with a bit more intention in the last round. We'll see if they can commit back into this. Orb control getting taken here. The Sneaker's going to get those Seekers online.
This is just general chipping away, but Twiston now stepping up. Snick is going to take that engagement, even just using the Trailblazer. This is exactly what Anonymo really don't want to happen, but that first kill makes up for it. That's the only bit of intel utility they really have other than the flashes. So God B is still going aggressive. The orbital strike, it's all coming through these ultimates.
Yeah, 2 being placed down at the same time. Guy like goes out, Sneak in first position, still off guard B, and is able to swing for the easy fight. Now separates down into Obnox's 1v1. And Obnox has the read on Sneak's position, who's looking into the wall, and that is going to make it easy for Obnox to take him down. Now Sneak, Admic rather, is pretty low on health inside of the site. Obnox would love him to swing into the crosshair. He does. That's even again. 2 players up on the board for either side. And 40 seconds left. Still a good bit of time to play with here for Big.
You have the Trailblazer, the Flash still, a Molly for Obnox. But if Maniac's going to take peeks like that, it makes the life very easy for Obnox. He's looking towards elbow. Kamek in a 1 versus 2, just pushing out CT.
I like this. He's trying to separate the space into the 1v1s because he had the timing upon the plant, but unfortunately, dealing with Obnox in this round seems almost impossible. Big step up with a 4K to close it.
Yeah, Big are going to feel pretty happy with the adjustment they've made. Caspe moving away from the Astra onto the Sky and swapping places with Obnox, who's on the Brimstone. Both players having 4Ks in the last 2 rounds, so they're feeling comfortable on their agents, finding a lot of impact. And turning things around when it looks really awkward. These early rounds for Big looking very tricky. And,
yeah,
you know,
a little scary.
Yeah, and like Twiston, he still has that buy coming in. He also has that showstopper. Seems that right now is going to be Anonymo. Not really working with too much in the end. 2 players still in spawn, so tech pause even coming in. And it is going to be interesting, really, that Big have this whole style of playing. I think you look at teams like Guild as well that ran the double initiators with the Sky and the Sova. And realistically, you can just outpace it a lot of the time. So I'm a little bit worried about Big's defense, not only because they only got 3 rounds against Team Liquid, but this Anonymo comp is looking to really throw themselves at them, and there's not much Big can do if 5 players run at them through B long or through showers, for example. There's not really that stopping power that you'd have with a Sage or even a Chamber.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to slow, and you know that comes back to that point that Ender was bringing up on the desk, the Sage debate, whether or not it's important to have Sage instead of the Sova or vice versa, and you can see some of the negatives maybe here for God B. And now, I think you look at the perspective of the first few rounds, it seemed like Anonymo were pretty comfortable making decisive turns and getting aggressive and taking map control on the smallest pieces of info. When they see God B uses his Al drone somewhere or they spot out his position, you can see an immediate reaction. And maybe that comes back to the point brought up on the desk also, the fact that we have lots of VODs to look at for Big. We see how they like to play a lot in the challenger stage of this competition. And, you know, Anonymo, more of a recent roster here. Big don't have a whole lot to run with. Anonymo seem to have done their prep.
Yeah, on everybody, even Rebels yesterday. It is the case of what are the tells for Big? What is the main thing that gives them the clues of what site Big is looking to execute on? Right now, it is just going to be that prodding, trying to take into showers. The wall's an interesting one. Not sure if it's actually going to like properly block off, but the flash has meant that there's a bit of a gap. But that could be bait, actually. As soon as the smoke ends, Casper might find it fight against 3 players.
They're actually going to walk it. They're getting into it, and Casper close to it. Now they push, and he's actually separated them into 1v1s. Couldn't quite step up for the 3rd, but he's done enough damage to bring Sus down low. 29 HP left. At this point, looking at the attacking side, they have an empty B site, and rotation coming back for Anonymo. They realize, damn, there's no more presence here on A. We have to try and speedrun this back to the B site.
And it is slow from Big. I mean, if they get any sign that all Anonymo players have stacked over on B, just get into the teleport, go A. That's why this B long position is so comfortable. But if they're going to take duels, they're really opening it up. Showstopper, it doesn't even connect to get the kill on any, and Twisted goes down. Yeah,
Sneak and Sus, good impact, and that reduces the numbers significantly now of Big. Their advantage no longer sides with him. Instant TP. In behind him, Sneak is not wasting any time. He's trying to get in behind, and that plant will be committed to by Godbeat. He'll happily put it down, but that rotation has come back in quite swiftly, and the showstopper is going to remove Aslan. Godbeat thrust into the clutch, and not even a second to react. Sus through the immediate headshot, and Anonymo, they were all over the map. Felt a little scary at a time for them, but they're still able to recover.
Oh yeah, it just sort of felt that Big had a lot of control over the area, that they'd full-on dedicate with a showstopper. And Anonymo are not missing with some of these shots. It's been a couple of weird thrifties from either side coming in, but Big, they find themselves in a position where they want to leverage that B-long position, really put that pressure in over towards B, but it felt like the teleport idea was just a bit of a last-ditch attempt to scramble back that round. Well played from Sus. The showstopper found a lot. His rotation was super quick, And just overall, it felt that Anonymo's team play was a lot stronger there, despite the fact that they started in a 4 versus 5, and it was a lower buy for them.
Now for Big, we focus in on this B-long setup. They put a lot of importance on taking B-long control early. A couple of rounds ago, it was mainly got B here alone, but now they've committed 3 players. But look at the push from Sneak. He's pushed all the way down. He could actually catch them as the 4th player joins him at long. Remember, there is a flank still coming around the backside of Aslan that could potentially pose a threat. But this is an acceleration for Big now into the B site, knowing that the flank's already been had. They've got all the information elsewhere, and now they need to get into the site. Sneak still gets away with one, gets caught inside of the orbital strike. A lot of health done, but he's not actually fallen. Now Admik swings in to the site. Big have taken a couple of kills, but Aslan makes sure it keeps it even. Now to the site they go. Viper's Pit being sent up. This is certainly increasing their chances to pull this one out.
Oh, Aslan is having to play this aggressively. The Resurrect is going to be the big thing. 3 versus 2 now. Honors in favor of Anonymo, but they have to clear this Viper's Pit.
Yeah, Aslan's just trying to dodge those pinch shells. He's tucked in the right corner. Now position known, but it doesn't really matter because they've taken all the kills required. Big will find another round. And just realizing once they get spotted out there in that mid-aggression on that flank, they have to accelerate, Ryan.
Yeah, a little bit touchy, I think, when it came to not having a hookah control. Snick is able to push all the way down sand. But considering you have the smoke there, it felt that that was the plan for Big. Maybe even baiting a player to stand in that position and feel comfortable, because then they could just orbital strike them like they just did. So Big, clever ideas, but it's teetering on the side of like, oh, this is a big area that can be exploited. Now Anonymo, some guns coming in for this round, but a Sheriff and a Frenzy in the hands of Sus and Maniac. Admik's wasting no time. He's winning out these duels over on B-long, so can take that initial pressure. And knowing that Trailblazers come in, he can orbital strike this spot and know that he can get Casper.
B immediately trades that out, so back to the 4v4. But the problem is Anonymo have weaker weapons here, and they have to retake. So looking pretty good for Big at the moment. Spike is going to go down. They can drop back with the time they've got into solid post plants. And right now you're looking at Anonymo really considering how do they get back into this.
Kamik does have a Viper's Pit, so if it's retaking the site, they can really put the pressure in, but you've still got the shock darts online, the Molotov, all these lineups ready, and it's a normal plan. So this is still feeling comfortable for Big, and the Eldrin actually connects onto where the Viper is.
Yeah, that's frustrating here for Anonymo. Luckily, Sneak has actually taken 2 kills, and now Kamik goes back to the defuse. He's going to hold it through, but the Hunter's Fury popped, and that is Kamik down. Obnox closes out with another 2, and Obnox is having a fantastic map so far. This first half has been great from the individual impact he's been delivering.
Yeah, it is worth bearing in mind that this is patch 4.04, so we still have double Stimmy Brimmy instead of just the 1. And Obnox is making full advantage of that, right? I think on this map it's going to be pretty common, but it is the fact that he's aiming there, tries to help out God B. It felt like half of Big were ready to sort of play the post plant, play it patiently, and then like Twistin and stuff, tried to play aggressively, got caught out by Snick. So again, it's awkward for Big despite the fact that they have this lead. They have another Seekers themselves, not too far away from having their own orbital straight for Obnox. He's going to fight for showers where the wall is. It's a bit of an off angle that he needs completely clearing, and Obnox doesn't have help here. So it is very risky for him to go in on his own. The rest of the squad quadling up, as Hypok likes to say, towards short.
Gobi, good impact again from this Owl drone. Spots out. Kamik ties him up for the second time in 2 rounds. Bolt going in, confirming that no one is at least playing close in front of that, but Kamik has found a nice little corner to play with it. Spike is going to be committed to Big now into the post plant again. It's heavy numbers in this once more. This retake will be 5v5, flank this time coming in.
Look at God B though, he's looking behind him, he's expecting to flank, but looking in the wrong direction of where it's coming from. Yep. This Trailblazer re-clearing lamp to really scare off these players, and Maniac finds the first kill in this post plant.
Well, God B just looked back at the right time, did spot that flank out. Sneak again, delivering some impact into this retake attempt. In fact, he's doing everything, and just like that, the big side fall, they crumble, and Anonymo will reach forward.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I said when we see Big on the defensive, just they don't have much to stop Anonymo when they start to up the tempo. And like you see the Trailblazer in lamps, but it isn't there to stop Anonymo's aggression once they come in. The Big want to do a little bit more damage than just a 1 kill, and actually Anonymo calling a timeout. You know, they can really sort of pull it back for this last half. And the buy is not great for Big, all things considered, because these last few rounds of Big have won have been down to 1v1s for the most part. They have to eco. And really, with it being round 11 and round 12 coming afterwards, last round of the half, they want to save the money for that one for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough spot here for Big, but you know they picked up 6 rounds on their attacking side so far. But what you were bringing up a little bit earlier is this comp might arise some problems on that defensive side. So you would want to try and build up as many attacking rounds as possible.
There is a caveat to that though. Anonymo's attacking side from what we saw against Falcons was not great. So I think both teams are going to struggle in the second half, to be fair. And the fact that like Anonymo won flawless after flawless on their defense. Their best run now is 6-all, which I think says a lot of how much Big has been able to do.
That's very true. And, you know, I was talking to Andrew yesterday, though, and I was bringing up that point. I was saying, no, don't worry. You know, Anonymo, yeah, they have a good start, but their attacking side, it's weak. And then they suddenly went over to the attacking side, and it didn't look anything like we've seen versus Falcons. So it's a little hard to read and predict with this Anonymo side, but that point you bring up is absolutely true. So Big... You've done very well to get onto 6 rounds. This is going to be a low buy round, a couple of upgraded pistols. Not really expecting too much, but they're going back to that comfort, which has been this be-long aggression. They're going to send the Trailblazer in and actually try and be quick on this one. Twistin hops out of hookah. Unfortunately, his teammates have been slowed out towards long, and Abmeek and Sus will take kills. But as soon as I say that, Aslan and Obnox kick into life, and a couple of kills bring them back to the 2 versus 2.
They could have pushed up B long and teleported, and I think they've been coy with this walk around. Maniac has all of the information. With just the Spectre, though, it's the fact that both Aslan and Obnox are low.
Yeah, they're so low, Ryan, and that is going to make it easy pickings for Maniac. It's the easiest kill he's had, just tracking the player's footsteps back, and then Kamik in a solid position. Big, tuck up tail, think they can run towards A. Unfortunately, Anonymo just positioned perfectly to deal with that, but good damage done. But nonetheless, last round of the first half, Big at 6 are leading the way, but love to end this half ahead. And Anonymo looking to scrap together to tie it up at the half.
I think they kind of have to win it. And you also like look at the ultimates as well. Like Big, we're just trying to sort of farm up some of the extremities, get Twistin's Showstopper online, Aslan not too far away from a Viper's Pit. Right now, it seems that they're sending a lot of players over towards hookah because Twistin's been finding that space consistently. I don't think Snick is going to expect a lot of players here.
Well, Guiding Light goes out to challenge down some of this initial hookah control. I think a little warning sign that Big love to go aggressive through that in the previous round. And Twistin, he's running back this time with some better weapons. And in fact, has pulled out the Showstopper to try and gain some control. That has scared them back into a more recessive setup, and Anonymo now have to retake.
I'd make having an orbital strike. He's thinking about using it though, but he knows that he has to hold this angle. He's about to get pushed. Boombot's going to get that information, but Twistin, he finds a second.
Yeah, Twistin with a headshot, removes Abmeek, and the Showstopper committed to. Sus from the grave will collect another, but just massive impact from Twistin in this round has thrust Kamik into the 1v4. Now, you're not really expecting too much from him, and Big will pick up that round. You said was a necessity.
And it was just in the right way. Like, it felt like that was Twistin making a call of, like, I've gone through hookah 3 times now, and there's nobody here. Like, if we just push out, I can get a kill, I can fight this. And as soon as Snig goes down, there's so little information to work with that Twistin's like, oh no, we're going with a Showstopper, we're going to execute onto the site. Also takes Elbow, which is a lot more intelligent from him, knows that he can leverage that position, knows that there's a Brimstone with his ultimate online. Instead of trying to get to the backside to farm more kills, he knows that taking that space and leveraging it a lot more is important. But now we get to Big's defense. How is this going to look, if at all, any different? Obnox changed over from that Sky Roll to the Brimstone, and he's top fragging in the server alongside Admic. Both these Brimstones showing up.
Yeah, it's great to see, you know, Brewing with a stim ease at this point with a double, as you pointed out earlier. Still 2 stims in flight. Boombot once again clearing out hookah, at least confirming some position. This time from Anonymo on their attacking side. Seems like quite a spread out pistol here, slow intent into the default run.
It is really just shutting down any initial pressure that Anonymo puts in. Because just now is like, okay, we forced pretty much everything out of the Viper. Everybody group up on me, and there's a Trailblazer still left to clear it. It was Boombots, paint shells, all used from Sus. Now that Trailblazer's going to track and find this Viper in the corner. The rest of the team should be able to clear it.
Have guiding lights. They're going to wait on that flash to come through, and that is going to just create a lineup. Sneak and Kamik, both with 2 kills, and they clear out the hookah defense setup. Now Gobi taking a bit of a risk play, goes through the defender's spawn smoke, and right to the headshot he will go. Sneak trades him out 1 for 1, and Obnix and Twistin thrust into the clutch. This time they're down a player, and Anonymo have the site.
Oh, they're pushing straight out as well with the frenzies, and they're finding so much.
Down to the 1v1 though. Maniac, he's so low. 53 up on top of the site. Oh, looks to claim his victim, but Obnox with a frenzy to the headshot. And it was that decisiveness to just go for big. They catch out the position player up on top of the Truda cannon, and that is not the position you want to be caught in when you're in the 3 versus 2. You just immediately give away that advantage, Ryan.
It's just, again, trying to fight fire with fire from big. And you even sort of saw, I think it was Gobi stand up and just shake the hand of Obnox there as he clutches it out, because that's an important pistol to win. It keeps big very much on top in this one, but Anonymo still looking to force this, feeling confident enough that they could buy through and put the pressure onto big. So it's whether big expect this force up and how they're playing around it. Because right now, again, like you said, they're sort of playing a lot more spread. And in a 1v4 situation, we saw it on the side of Aslan there, you're not going to win them.
Yeah,
Not against Anonymo.
This is actually a very exciting round because, as you pointed out, the force buy for Anonymo has come through, but big, their buy isn't good at all, really. You know, you've got 3 Spectres, a Frenzy. I mean, it comes down to the 1v1. You can see the plan. Surely it's in the back of your head that you're going to have to possibly deal with the force. At least some information being picked up there by the Trailblazer.
It is buying up all of that utility that probably made this a weaker buy in the end. Like
it's essential, really.
Yeah. That's how you win this map, is just better utility, because you have more utility. So Twistin, exactly that. The Boombot is going to at least confirm if there's anybody here. Is he going to expect Snick on the extra corner? No, he thought that there was one, but didn't expect the closer player. Got B actually coming through with a pinch. This is perfect from Caspe. And they have the spike as well.
Yeah, that's a quick reactions there from Big, very decisive. Gobi eventually will be taken down, but Casper able to deliver more, and that quick TP play allows the Bulldog to stay up for a moment longer, and the impact is delivered. So Anonymous force not working, proactive there from Big, not really scared to go into battle. But yeah, it's essential here that we've seen that utility being prioritized, in particular here on the Brimstone of Obnox, right? Because he is the player, the one player that can delay them with the Molly and the smoke. So that is almost essential that you get him into that position each and every round.
And because you have the Raze playing on Showers on his own, it is so important for Caspe to jump in behind him and pinch as much as possible. For some teams like G2, you have the Viper alongside there with the toxic screen. But the one controller over here, like you mentioned, is that Brimstone. The Molly and the smoke immediately coming in. And because of that force up, it is just an eco for Anonymous. So Big should be able to make it 10 here.
Yeah, I like just the sequence there of utility in towards A short. You have the Molly into the smoke, into the paint shells to clear out Cubby. And it really is slowing down Anonymo and making the whole area just impossible to maneuver in. Good stuff from Big so far. Re-smoke comes through, just delaying this further. Obnox is in a risky battle there. When you go down to 5 HP, a trade does come through for Kamik.
Anonymo now 3 players alive. Recon Dart isn't going to tag onto any of them. Looks like the reset is to come through all the way into Showers. Caspe does have that Seekers, but realistically would want to save it for a full buy. And Twistin's upgraded his gun. He's moved out of Showers. In fact, rotating over towards the high ground of Heaven. Really is just a case of waiting this out, but Gobby's got this angle.
30 seconds
now with
left.
the range of the Bulldog. But the problem is, the screen has gone up here for Anonymous. That allows them to walk right to the side, set the guiding light through. They're actually playing through it. They're playing aggressive upon this one. Twisted, walks to the Heaven smoke, actually gets the chance of the 3K. Can only manage 2 before hitting the deck from Sneak, and Gobby would love to see if he can get onto that Vandal, and he can't do so. So Vandal does go into the next on the floor. Unfortunately, Big unable to pick it up. So 10-5 nonetheless, double figures for Big, and most importantly, in this round, Ryan, we've got a buy back for Anonymo.
Yeah, this is going to be a big round for them in the end. Snick also not too far from having his own ultimate to go with the Seekers, so could see both coming online. But Kamik, I think, is going to be a big aspect of this. Viper's Pit, early in this path on the attacking side. Just playing up towards short, so maybe this is going to be Anonymo putting in some initial pressure towards B long. It's not really a lurk lineup for the Viper over on A, so it's just sitting back to see if anybody's going to push it.
Yeah, one away from that Viper's Pit. For the time being, and Anonymo now starting to walk up B long. Guiding light at the ready for Caspi. He's going to throw that around the corner, and actually he gets one in his own face, sends it around. Blinds 3. Does want to swing on it. Timing didn't feel so great for him, and decides actually, there's quite a lot of resistance there. I'm going to back away and play towards Elbow, where he has got a support network of the rest of his team.
So much for Big to work with, right? Aldron is sat pretty, recon dart available for God B. But Orb actually picked up to get the Seekers online. It's about entering into a site, but Anonymo going to reset. If they go A, they need to be careful of the fact that Twiston's flanking around. They don't have much time here.
Yeah, the flank of Twisted is the problem. You have to realize, Anonymo, that you've committed a lot to this, and they do now move. They send the Seekers out. They're committing into the fight. No one's gone down yet, but finally Casper spots one. They line up. He comes away with 2, and now Aslan's turn on the Spectre of all weapons. Snake bite into the hookah because he heard the footsteps of Kamik chasing him down. But Kamik still comes out on top. Viper's Pit now available.
Twiston.
27 seconds left. Twiston's flank finally has come to the surface, and it will reap its reward. Kill onto Kamik, and a closer at 11 for Big.
Oh, this has just been fantastic from Big, like the adjustment that's come in. And I also think that they've canned Twiston in a sense of like, they know that he's super aggressive, they just unleash him sporadically. It's just he's like, but B, can I go lurk? And he's like, yes, son, you could go lurk. And he's like, yay! And just starts sprinting across the map behind him. It feels like he's more reined in, but Big know how to utilize him. The question for me overall for Big is that going to be consistent across all of the maps here? Especially Breeze, where Twiston has played a little bit of Cypher. Last series against Mech, he did actually play the Jet. There seems a bigger leaning into Twiston's duelist power.
Yeah, interesting to see if that is going to pan out as we move into the rest of the series. Twiston, speak of him, he will open up the round again. I mean, look at the buy here for Anonymo. They're going to have to deal with Big, so much cash. Buy is looking so good, and Anonymo down once again to Sheriffs. Also losing the first player is never going to help, but they look to try and pop into this B site from 2 sides. A split from Hookah and Long. Now the attack through the paint shell sent into the back of the site with the slow or combo. They're trying to make this expensive, but nonetheless it is cleaned up, and Aslan will get himself a triple.
I think now it's just Big just finding timings there of just, all right, they've put a smoke here. They're not looking at these smokes once they put them down. There's been a couple of instances from Anonymo where they smoke, say, Heaven over on the A site, as you see it on screen, and Twiston just peeks out and gets 2. Like, there's been a couple of moments like that. It's a bigger sort of leaning into that adjustment. And when you have God B as an IGL, it is like having a coach consistently with you to call these adaptations. Kundi's watching in the wings and he'll time out when he needs to. But it feels like God B's adjustments, especially on Bind, where he's played up against like Team Liquid's Neon, he's so good at thinking on the fly, and Big's adjustments across this series, this map even, have been pivotal at that. Now there's that Viper's Pit in short, a lot of pressure and instant stuff coming in from Anonymo and Showers. Yep, they're on Viper's Pit too.
The Toxic Scree has found Obnox towards the back of the site, and that Viper's Pit being sent up here for Big. Hunter's Fury tries to deny the plant, it can't do so. There's a little bit of damage, and in fact, on the way out, the last tick connects on the Maniac. But look at Sus, up towards Heaven. God B, unfortunately for Sus, will not fall to it. God B is now charging down the Heaven play. Blast Pack sets him off a little bit, but God B still poised and ready. Boombot goes in, and just in the peek out, finds the head of Sneak. Good trade out from Sus, who's doing a lot in this round, and will close with the 4K. Anonymo stay alive on Bind for at least a round longer.
So now Big are feeling a bit more fire from Anonymo, tempo much different. I pointed out the Viper's Pit for Anonymo because you see a lot of teams go for those like Showers pushes and just ulting straight out of there. But it was smart that not only Anonymo were able to take the round, they find the opening, but they're frugal with these ultimates. They still have that Viper's Pit. They still have stuff to work with. If Sus can find his form, then he's going to be the opening for a lot of these rounds. Showstopper, Viper's Pit, Resurrect, Orbital Strike. So much for Anonymo to work with. A buy for Big. And they also have a couple of ultimates themselves. Twiston wasting no time. Wants to shut down Sus as much as possible after he spots the Boombot. And he's still pushing.
Yeah, just keeps pushing. This is one of those rounds where they let him off the leash, perhaps. Twiston not even going to sit here and wait. He's decided to continue his flank around the backside, and they have no info on this. There's no way they expect this, but luckily, they've called the execute quickly, so Twiston needs to get in behind them. His flank is almost essential. Again, he has that showstopper online. Twistin wanting to just clear them out. Oh, that is perfect. The orbital strike forces them back into the crosshair. And now Kamik with the headshot, able to trade out onto Aslan. So 4v4 still. Showstopper committed to, and it will get its pick in the corner. That's the spike loose. And that is now Anonymo looking rough here on Bind. I say that, but Maniac has found another kill, and that has actually put them into the advantageous position. Rez committed to as well, so back onto his feet is Sneak, and he'll play from default. Golby in the clutch, can't quite track Kamik. So Anonymo still recover what looked like a messy round will stay up here.
Yeah, still managing to make it work. This is the risk when you don't have something like a chamber in your squad, right? Big are able to just go on these flanks, and there's no tripwires from a Cypher, trademarks from a chamber to watch these flanks. But now I think Big need to not lean into that too much, really. Maybe they're getting a bit too gung-ho with their approach. And Anonymo can keep this going. The buy is still going as well for Big. Using ultimates themselves, only having that Seekers to work with. Whereas Anonymo, just that Resurrect and the Showstopper.
Guiding Light gets information as to the whereabouts of at least an Anonymo player. Casper now just jump spotting to see if he can see how many are actually there.
This is a weird
being sent out.
It's a weird Seekers considering that Big have information that this player's on B long. Casper sort of sees the stack, and now the old run can be dedicated just to see if there's anything else coming more towards Hookah. And that's the crunch coming in from Twistin.
Yeah, quick TP, and now Golby at the back of the side from the Cubby has found himself another flying player taken out of the sky, and everybody down. Strong closer from Big and a strong first map.